colleagues, good morning. We start our working day. Now we give the floor to the Colonel Viktoria Kushnir from the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, and then a Captain of the First Rank Leonid Matyukhin, an ATO spokesperson. Good morning, dear audience. I'm glad to see you at our briefing. In Khmelnytsky region, the qualification course starts in the form of training for trainers. The US instructors will train Ukrainian trainers who will then train their colleagues in future. These training shall be conducted on the basis of Special Forces Military Union, and it is intended on practical skills delivery. According to the order of the Minister of Defense, the military lawyers, along with the military prosecutor's office, continues the works on returning the lands of the Defense Ministry from unlawful ownership. The proceedings are on the way to dissolve the long-term rent contract with the foundation trying to own this historical building of the air constructor, air designer Igor Sikorsky in Kiev. We call on all non-indifferent citizens who are willing to provide additional information in this case to address our legal department of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. The citizens willing to join the initiative group on developing the concept of the Sikorsky Museum in Kiev are invited to submit their proposals to the National Military Historical Museum in Ukraine. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine take all relevant actions required to execute the judgments of the courts which are for the benefit of the Defense Ministry. In particular, as of November 19, 2015, the courts were trying 1,078 court proceedings where the Ministry of Defense was a claimant or a third party for a total amount of 3.7 billion hryvnias. During 2015, the military lawyers prepared and submitted to courts of general jurisdiction more than 1,000 claims for a total amount of 816 million hryvnias. So far, over 100 judgments were issued to the benefit of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine for a total amount of over 107 million hryvnias. The enforced collection of funds to the benefit of Ministry of Defense is conducted with the participation of the Executive Service of Ukraine. Ukrainian servicemen in the ATO area proceeds cleaning the territory from explosive ordnance which the occupants installed. In particular, during the latest week, they neutralized nearly 100 explosive objects. A total of 23,000 explosive objects were neutralized from the beginning of the ATO, and 585 kilometers of roads and 17 kilometers of railways were neutralized, and 58 facilities have been cleaned from explosive objects. The Ministry of Defense is developing the national standards on demining activities. They plan to develop 26 standards. So far, 8 standards have already been developed, and 2 of them have been sent for approval. Besides that, the the international standards on demining activities are being reviewed so that they are adopted as national standards. As of November 16, the status of combat action participant was granted to 77,862 servicemen and armed forces of Ukraine servicemen. The disbursement of compensations to the servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine proceeds. As of November 5th, the compensations were received by 17,359 servicemen for a total amount of 78,520,000 hryvnias. In particular, so far for the direct action in combats, about 74 million hryvnias have been paid. And now I am giving the floor to Captain of the First Rank, Leonid Matyukhin, an ATO spokesperson. Good morning, Mr. Captain. Could you give us the update on dynamics of hostilities in ATO zone in the last 3 days? On November 17, the mercenaries used BMP-2 grenade launchers, heavy machine guns and small arms to fire on Piske, Opytne, Mariinka and Krasnogorivka. At 7 o'clock a.m., Opytne was fired on from the direction of Spartak by Russian mercenaries from 82mm mortars. The occupants continued provocative fire on our positions on November 18. In Donetsk direction, they used grenade launchers, heavy machine guns and small arms and fired on Opytne, Piske, Mariinka, Verkhnotoretsk, Troitsk and Avdiivka. In Lugansk direction, the mercenaries used small arms and conducted precision fire directly on our positions in Novotoshkinsk and Orekhovo-Donetsk. At 2 o'clock p.m., a combat engagement took place in Orekhovo-Donetsk with the enemy subversive and reconnaissance group. There were about 20 persons in that group. The enemy received a fitting rebuff and traditionally fled. The same night, 17 incidents of fire were registered, including 2 of them in Artyomivsk direction and 15 of them in the Donetsk direction. On November 19, the situation in the ATO area remained tense, starting with 6 o'clock p.m. until 6 o'clock a.m. The Russian-backed mercenaries opened fire 30 times, including 15 times they conducted non-precision fire in the Donetsk direction. From BMP grenade launchers, heavy machine guns and small arms, the mercenaries fired towards Avdiivka, Nevelsk, Troitsk and Krasnogorivka. In Artyomivsk direction, they used mortars, heavy machine guns and small arms and fired on Lugansk, Zaitsevo and Mayorsk. In the district of Mayorsk, 82mm mortars were used. The mercenaries also conducted precision fire from 82mm mortars on our positions near Troitsk, and they used small arms to fire on our positions near Granitne and Shirokine. After 6 o'clock a.m., the terrorists continued provocative fire towards our positions in Donetsk and Artyomivsk directions. They used grenade launchers, heavy machine guns and small arms. They fired on Avdiivka, Mariivka, Krasnogorivka, Opytne and Mayorsk. They used 82mm mortars to fire on Krasnogorivka. Twice they fired directly on our positions. In particular, in Mariinka, they used grenade launchers and small arms and an automatic grenade launcher to fire on Krasnogorivka. On November 20, from 6 p.m. Till 6 a.m. the next day, there were no hour without shells and fire. The majority of fire was focused in Donetsk direction. There were a total of 36 fire incidents, including 30 of them with the use of grenade launchers, anti-aircraft guns, heavy machine guns and small arms on Mariinka, Avdiivka, Novgorodske, Opytne and Piske. In Artyomev's direction, the heavy machine guns and small arms were used to fire on Zaitsevo, and in Lugansk direction, they used anti-aircraft guns to fire on Toshkinske.